Urgent Buffalo Bills fans. Do not miss this. What just happened? You won't believe this one. But before we reveal the big news, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because here, we bring you daily videos with the latest Buffalo Bills updates. And to not miss anything, activate the notifications. Alright, folks, today we're diving into a story that's stirring up a lot of chatter among Bills fans and insiders alike. It's one of those news pieces that could potentially shift the landscape of the team's offense, especially considering how the roster has been shaping up this offseason. It's about a possible reunion, a return of a familiar face, and what that might mean for the Buffalo Bills as they gear up for what promises to be an intense 2024 season. Now, you know I love bringing you the latest and most detailed insights, so stay with me because this story is layered, complex, and full of potential. The Buffalo Bills, as many of you know, have been pretty aggressive in their efforts to bolster their wide receiver core in recent months. After losing some key players in free agency and through roster changes, the team went out and brought in a handful of talented receivers, like Elijah Moore, Joshua Palmer, and Laviska Shenault. These additions were strategic, designed to add speed, versatility, and depth to an already talented group. The Bills have been trying to strike that perfect balance of veteran experience and young, explosive talent, and from what we've seen so far, they're doing a good job of it. Keon Coleman, a promising rookie, and Khalil Shakir, who's been developing nicely, have also stepped up, giving the Bills a pretty solid receiver group heading into the season. But here's where it gets really interesting. Despite the impressive roster built so far, some of the legends and former players of the Bills organization believe that one more addition might just make all the difference. And that's none other than Gabe Davis. Yes, Gabe Davis, the dynamic receiver who's been a key part of the Bills' offense over the past few seasons, especially during their playoff runs. Davis, who was drafted by Buffalo in the 4th round, has grown into a reliable second target for Josh Allen, making crucial plays, stretching defenses, and providing that big play threat that every team covets. Now, here's the thing, Gabe Davis was recently released by the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's right, after spending a few seasons with the Bills and making significant strides, he found himself on the market again. And that has sent ripples through the Bills fan community and the locker room too. Several of Davis's former teammates, veterans, and insiders have started pushing for a reunion, believing that bringing him back could be a game changer. Why? Because Gabe Davis is not just a talented receiver, he's a tone setter. He's the kind of player who can change the momentum of a game with a single catch, a big play, or a crucial block. Let's talk about why Davis is so highly regarded within the Bills locker room. Mitch Morse, the team's veteran center, recently voiced his thoughts in a pretty heartfelt way. He described Davis as an absolute tone setter in the locker room and on the field, emphasizing his leadership qualities, his ability to motivate teammates, and his role as a culture guy. Morse also highlighted how Davis played hurt last season without complaining, an attribute that teammates and coaches deeply respect. When you hear something like that from a veteran leader, it really underscores the kind of impact Davis has beyond just his on-field production. And if you think about it, Davis's role in the Bills' offense has been significant. He's developed into a reliable second or third option, especially when the team needs a contested catch or a big downfield play. His size, speed, and ability to make tough catches in traffic make him a perfect fit for the Bills' high-octane, vertical passing attack. The question is, with his recent release, could he be a low-cost, prove-it-type deal for Buffalo? And that's exactly what some analysts are suggesting, including former Bills offensive lineman and current media personality Eric Wood. Wood recently took to social media, specifically X, formerly Twitter, and expressed his support for bringing Davis back. His reasoning is pretty straightforward. Davis is a great blocker, a solid special teamer, and has chemistry with Josh Allen that's hard to replicate. He also pointed out that Davis, when healthy, can still make explosive plays and carve out a role within the team's offense. Wood's argument is that bringing him back on a prove-it deal could be a win-win situation. Davis gets a fresh start, and the Bills add a versatile weapon who knows their system well. However, let's be real for a moment. The Bills are operating under some financial constraints this offseason. Cap space is limited, and with some of their recent signings and extensions, they're not exactly sitting on a mountain of cap room. Bringing back Gabe Davis would require some creative cap work, perhaps restructuring contracts or making some tough roster decisions. Still, the idea of reuniting with Davis has gained traction because of his familiarity with the team, his playoff experience, and his potential to elevate the offense when needed. What's also interesting is the broader context of the Bills' wide receiver room. They've invested heavily in the position, but as we all know, injuries, inconsistencies, and the unpredictable nature of the NFL can change everything in just a few weeks. Gabriel Davis has shown flashes of brilliance, but he's also faced criticism for drops and inconsistency at times. Still, his playoff performances, including that incredible divisional game against the Kansas City Chiefs in 2022, where he scored multiple touchdowns, prove what he can do when he's firing on all cylinders. The Bills' front office and coaching staff are known for being strategic, especially when it comes to roster management. They're always looking for the best value, the right fit, and players who can contribute immediately. If Davis becomes available at a reasonable price, it wouldn't be surprising to see the Bills make a move, especially if some of their current depth players don't quite meet expectations during training camp or the preseason. Now, looking ahead, the Bills' offense is poised for another big season. With Josh Allen at the helm, the team's offensive scheme continues to evolve, emphasizing a mix of explosive passing, creative play calling, and a solid run game. The addition of a proven veteran like Gabe Davis could add that extra spark, especially in tight games or playoff scenarios where every play counts. Buffalo's coaching staff has always valued versatility, and Davis fits that mold perfectly. He can line up outside, move into the slot, and even be used in gadget plays or as a decoy. And let's not forget about the team's overall goals. The Bills have been knocking on the door for Super Bowl glory for a few years now. They've come close, losing heartbreaker after heartbreaker in the playoffs, especially the infamous AFC Championship game against the Kansas City Chiefs in 2022. The team is hungry, and they recognize that sometimes, the difference between winning and losing can be just a few plays, a bit of chemistry, or the presence of a player who can step up in clutch moments. Bringing back Gabe Davis could be that missing piece, especially if he's motivated and healthy. Of course, we have to keep an eye on training camp, roster cuts, and the overall health of the team. The Bills have a lot of competition at receiver, and young players like Shakir and the rookies will be fighting for their spots. But if Davis proves he's still got that explosiveness, that knack for big plays, and that leadership inside the locker room, the coaching staff might just see him as a valuable addition, someone who can contribute immediately and possibly become a key piece in their playoff run. In the end, it's all about maximizing their chances, building chemistry, and creating a team that can finally take that next step and bring a Super Bowl trophy back to Buffalo. The Bills have built a strong foundation, but as any NFL fan knows, sometimes the last piece of the puzzle is just a familiar face returning home, a veteran who knows the system, and a player who's motivated to prove himself all over again. Whether or not that happens, one thing's for sure, the buzz around Gabe Davis and the potential reunion is not going away anytime soon. So, what do you think, Bills fans? Would you love to see Gabe Davis back in the blue and red? Do you think he still has what it takes to be a game changer for Buffalo? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I really want to hear your opinions. This team is always evolving, always looking for that edge, and I'll be right here to cover every twist and turn along the way. Remember, I'll be back soon with even more updates, rumors, and deep dives into everything Buffalo Bills. Stay tuned, stay passionate, and as always, go Bills!